Hi guys, Nathan Jammal, Director at OBP. Today we're talking to you about why sometimes I tell people not to restructure their business. One of the biggest misconceptions about what I do is that people think every client who walks through our doors ends up in an insolvency appointment. The reality is that's simply not true. There are plenty of meetings where I spend an hour or two with a business owner, and at the end of it, I tell them, I don't think you need me. Now that might sound strange coming from someone who works in restructuring and insolvency, but that's exactly how it should be. My job is not to sell liquidations or to sell small business restructures. My job is to work with the company's advisors and the business to understand the reasons it's in financial distress and then recommend what the best outcome is. Sometimes that's a formal appointment and sometimes it's not. Now, obviously every business is different, and these are just examples based on my experience and what goes through my head when I'm sitting with clients. Sometimes the business isn't actually insolvent. Sometimes they just need advice. Take a plumber who comes and sees me with a $70,000 ATO debt and a lockdown DPN for approximately half of that. He's panicking because he thinks he's about to lose everything. We sit down and we review the business. He's making good profits, customers are paying, the work is there. The real problem is that he's using his best money to fund growth. He doesn't need an insolvency appointment. He needs better cash flow management and a sensible payment arrangement with the ATO. That's not an insolvency problem, that's a cash flow problem. Then there are businesses that simply need to operate efficiently. They need to restructure the business, not the company. Take a cafe owner. Sales are strong, customers are walking through the door, but wages have crept up, food costs have increased, and the menu hasn't been repriced in years. They open 7 days, however, Mondays and Tuesdays, they lose money every week. In that situation, I wouldn't be looking at restructuring the company, I'd look at restructuring the business. Close on the quiet days, adjust staffing, increase pricing, improve margins. Sometimes those small decisions completely change the future of the business and avoid a restructure or a liquidation. Then there are businesses that are genuinely good businesses. They've just been hit by circumstances outside of their control. A formal restructure is exactly the right solution. A labour hire company that has worked almost exclusively for one client for several years. The client is sold to another company and the new owners decide that they no longer require the labour hire arrangement. Almost overnight, a successful business loses the majority of its income. The staff are still there, the systems are still there, the experience is still there. Directors immediately begin approaching other businesses in the industry and start rebuilding their client base. The business did not suddenly become a bad business. It simply lost its biggest customer. There's a big difference. That's exactly the type that a small business restructure was designed to help. At OBP, we've successfully delivered numerous small business restructures, achieving meaningful returns between 15 to 30% while preserving viable businesses and giving directors a genuine second chance. And then there are businesses where after reviewing everything, the kindest advice I can give is, I think it's time to stop. Not because they've failed, not because they've done anything wrong, but because continuing to trade is going to create more debt, more stress, and more risk. Revenue has been declining for years. Every month the business is losing money. Even the director is using personal credit cards to pay wages. There is simply no realistic path back to profitability. In those situations, keeping the doors open isn't helping anyone. Sometimes closing the business is the bravest and smartest decision a director can make. The hardest conversations I ever have aren't recommending a small business restructure. They're the conversations where I sit across from someone who spent 20 years building a business and I tell them it's time to let it go. Those conversations stay with you. People often think my job is to save every company. I don't see it that way. My job is to give honest advice. If that means helping someone restructure, great. If that means avoiding an unnecessary appointment, great. And if it means telling someone to walk away before things get worse, then that's the best advice I can give. Because at the end of the day, not every business needs an insolvency practitioner. Some just need good advice, and my job is knowing the difference. Yeah, I know, well then I just can't do it, and I'll just have to do the script and Bob's your uncle. Yeah?
I accept it.
Oh. One of the biggest misconceptions. My goodness. All right. That's my first one. But I have been talking to the camera. Yeah. I have. Look, that first example, I spoke to the camera most of it. I wasn't reading.
Did you? Good.
Yeah. All right. So is there a screen on the back of that?
Yeah.
Like there?
Yeah, down here.
Oh,
yeah,
okay.
Yeah. And then I got a screen here.
Oh, wow. Okay.
Oh, you look good. See,
The baby blue.
The baby blue, beautiful. Okay.
Okay. Oh, I have to do that line again. That was wrong.
Okay.
Oh, no, don't tell me that. Come on. You said I'm getting better at it, so.
You're a pro.
Done.
Good.